what kind of important things should you think about when approaching villains? Well, first, of course, with world building, you're going to be thinking about how does a setting create a villain? If you live in an egalitarian society, what does a villain look like? If you live in a nomadic pastoral society where your primary thing is horses, and you herd horses and horses are everything about your culture, what kind of conflicts would you have? Well, in that situation, horse thieves, right? So you might have a villain who is a really good horse thief. And then they can use that horse theft to leverage their political power in a society. One thing that we often talk about in anthropology is that there are two conditions for violence. Now, there are many more than two, but these are kind of the two that without which violence cannot happen. The first is an interest. You have to have something you want for the violence. If there's nothing you want, then there's probably not going to be violence. And wants can be anything from like a serial killer who wants pleasure, or has kind of a need to dominate others, or maybe a sociopath, which is similar. If I recall the distinction, a psychopath is born, a sociopath is made by these conditions of society. So again, what kind of societal factors would be influencing what a villain looks like and how they could be a villain? So what are the interests? In the case of the horse thief example, the villain is naturally someone who wants an economic edge. Having more horses in a pastoral society or a cattle society or a shepherd society would naturally mean more access to power and wealth. In some societies that, for example, a lot of cattle cultures, in sub-Saharan Africa, having more cattle means access to more reproductive opportunities. And so their interest could be lust, it could be power, it could be all of the above, right? That's the interest. And the second is always going to be a justification. A justification is, well, I'm better than that other person. Or if, like, let's say you're a bank robber, your interest is money. Maybe you are like, well, these are big corporate banks. They're insured. No one's really going to get hurt anyway. Besides, banks and the whole capitalist system, they oppress people. So I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to rob a bank. Right? You can have religious justifications. These are the heathens who disagree with my sense of morality and power. It could be with a serial killer. The justification, it could be, well, humans are just cattle for me to play with. Or the justification could be, I need to do this to make myself feel better, to make the voices stop. Various other things. Could be mental illness. There's lots of ways that you can have an interest and justifications. So as you're crafting your villains, now you can, if you choose, make a mad, cackling, evil, sort of villain, like in 80s cartoons are a really good example to look at mad, cackling at villains, like two-dimensional characters. But if you're trying to use anthropology, of course, you want that villain to think that, in fact, they are probably a hero, or at least they're the good guy, or at least if they're not the good guy, then they are someone who has a justification for why it's okay for them to seek vengeance or seek more horses. So those are kind of some things for approaching villains.